You're listening to XVGM Radio. Welcome to XVGM Radio, where the bits keep coming. I'm Justin.
And I'm Mike.
And this is episode 12, Disney Capcom with Rhythm and Pixels.
Oh yeah, Rhythm and Pixels.
How's it going, guys? This is Rob and Pernell.
Hello, Justin and Mike. Thanks for letting us invade your show.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rob.
That's Pernell. Don't listen to him.
I don't know. He said he was Rob.
I mean, would I lie to you? I mean, come on.
I don't know. It seems pretty credible.
See?
So, Rhythm and Pixels is a weekly video game music podcast where we're focused on not jokes.
We're not
music?
really. Let's be blunt.
It's music. But
we're not focused on anything. We just have fun.
I think it's friendship. We're focused on the friendship.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is important to me.
I'm getting
Pernell.
It's Always Sunny flashbacks, like love and friendship for everyone.
I was getting like My Little Pony.
Oh, okay. We went in two completely different spectrums there.
But yeah, so we pick really weird esoteric topics. Like our last episode was dreams, and we've done episodes of like jail or just characters carrying baseball bats.
I'm looking forward to the spinach episode.
The spinach episode?
It's coming.
It's gonna happen. So we just have a really good time. We have a lot of great musical guests and comedic guests on our show, and it's always fun. So thanks for having us on your show. It's good. It's good to be on someone else's dime.
That is true.
Exactly.
Because I like
Definitely
to
happy
drink.
to have you.
I like to drink beverages, like to eat food, and the less I have to pay for, the better.
So this episode is going to be a little bit of a two-parter because today we're going to be doing Capcom Disney games, and then on your show at another future date, we're going to be doing non-Disney or non-Capcom Disney games.
Non-Disney Capcom.
Non-Disney
Just
Capcom.
all Mega Man all the time.
I'm not going to lie to you. The fact that you clarified that helps a lot because this whole time I was like, oh, so when they come on our show, we're doing non-Capcom, non-Disney Capcom game. That's everything.
No, I thought it was Disney non-Capcom.
All I picture is like Mega Man walking around with like a Mega Buster.
Or Disney non-Capcom.
Or Mickey Mouse walking around with a Mega Buster.
Mega Buster!
Yeah.
That's the worst Mickey Mouse that's ever.
I don't know. I really like that.
Mega Buster! Mega Buster! Time to get serious! Tornado!
Even if they gave him a Keyblade, now you're going to give him a Mega Buster? Oh my god.
Oh boy.
That's the Mickey for this episode.
Yeah.
That's right. So we came in with a track that Rob and Pernell picked, which is our intro track was Magical Tetris Challenge on the Game Boy Color. Came out in 2000, and that was Up, Down, Tetris Panic by Harumi Fujita.
No, it's up, down, left, right, BA, start,
select.
EA.
Start.
No, no DLC here, buddy.
No, I think it's up, down, left, right, BA, start. There's another one that does involve select, though.
That's for
See, I think that's your Gradius talking. That's
it is.
Your Gradius mindset.
All that two-player stuff.
Yeah. What made you guys pick this track, other than the fact that I know Rob picked it?
I'm about to say the fact that Rob picked it.
I picked it because it's actually one of my favorite like Game Boy tracks of all time. It's because it's short, but it's super catchy. I love it's got that Capcom sound from Harumi Fujita, which is very like it's so melodic, and like there's sections of it that are so sad that it's like this is a Tetris game, you know. It makes me think of the if there's another podcast called the VGM Jukebox, and it's very nostalgic and it's very sentimental. And I've never played this game. If I see Disney characters on a title, I'm usually not super excited. But like it's something like this it just pulls me in. It just pulls me in and then brings a tear to my eye.
I gotta say though, hearing that statement definitely makes me question like just this episode. Seeing Disney characters in a game just makes me feel bad. This whole episode is Disney game.
I mean, like I know that's because I love Capcom.
It's like Chip. Who wants to play Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers?
He's very torn. He's very torn because he loves Capcom, but he's not as big of a fan of Disney. And I mean, I have more nostalgic memories of Disney growing up, but like nowadays, I don't really have I think I'll have a better connection when my daughter gets a little older, because then, you know,
the Disney
stuff.
First of all, the Disney afternoon is eternal, all right? I'd watch Aladdin and all of its terrible plots to this day.
Yes.
And they were some terrible plots. They had a villain named literally Abysmal. How do you
I remember him.
Pay to say we need some quality names for our characters on this show? Man, I had a really bad day. How bad was it? Freaking abysmal. We got one.
Please tell me it was just a giant mall.
Just
the Mall of America.
A thief who was unlucky. It was the lamest freaking name. My God. Like.
So we'll talk about Harumi Fujita in just a little bit, but have you guys played this game actually? Rob, you said no, right?
No, sir, no.
Okay.
That makes two of us on the no play, but you said it was Magical Tetris Challenge?
It's called the Magical Tetris Challenge.
I'm going to wager, throwing a ball out here.
Sounds like a lot of
that it involves a lot of block management.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe
block
Mickey,
management on the Game Boy Color.
Maybe Mickey or Minnie will be in the corner offering you a little bit of advice like, don't put that block there or stop screwing up. Thanks, Mickey. I really appreciate it.
That's like the Soviet version of Tetris, block management.
Block management featuring
That's
Disney.
what Tetris means.
I was about to say, it's funny you say it's the Soviet version considering the Tetris is from Russia. With love. Magical furniture rearrangement.
Yeah, there
I
you
would
go.
play that, man.
Put the couch over there. All right. Oh, no, it looks better over here. Come on, my back. Press A to start.
No lie,
No.
that's the only like iOS game I'm playing right now is where you rearrange furniture in your cat hotel.
Really? Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Can't put the couch there. The cat peed over there. We'll put the couch over the pee spot, and we're okay. We can never move it.
It's like I was made for this game. I'm
So,
sorry. Go ahead.
before we jump into this episode, we did want to go over something really quick. We wanted to offer a clarification regarding our previous episode 9 of XVGM Radio, where we did a spotlight on Ryu Umamoto. It's kind of like an emotional episode.
Yep.
You know, kind of heavy-handed, heavy-hearted, heavy-hand-hearted.
Just heavy.
Just heavy. We received 2 different emails regarding the track listing. You know, when we research tracks for this show, you guys probably do the same thing, where you try to look at as many possible ways to find out regarding certain composers, because as you know, it's always difficult to track down who composed what. And we always try to look at a bunch of different sources, but the sources that we found for that episode, it wasn't as accurate as we would like it to be. Yeah. So some wonderful stalwarts, VGM podcast stalwarts, I guess that's the right word, right?
Sure, yeah.
Friends stalwarts? I don't know. Basically, some fellow VGM podcasters who we are buddies with emailed us and let us know about some things that we need to clarify. So, Princess Maker 2 was a Masahiro Kajihara track. I guess Umamoto only worked on the arrangement for like a commercial CD.
Yeah.
The ground seed track that we played was actually a Ryu Takami track, and Umamoto had apparently nothing to do with the Cyveriar soundtrack, despite other websites saying that he did.
Yeah.
Very confusing. So, take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to that Cyveriar track, but the other two check out. So we wanted to thank Ed Wilson, and of course we want to thank Brian Mosley from Pixelated Audio, and Ed Wilson, of course, my previous co-host on Pixel Tunes Radio, and now the VG Embassy. So make sure to check out their shows, VG Embassy, thevgembassy.com, and pixelatedaudio.com. Got it. Yes. Cool.
And also, just worth saying, because someone brought it up, because you guys just said it, people should play Princess Maker 2, because I heard it mentioned. I know that game is spectacular. It deserves to be mentioned in any show at any time.
Yes. Yep. All right, so let's get into the music. So we have our first track, and this is Rob's pick. So Rob and Pernell picked most of the tracks this time around, and Justin and I picked 2 each.
Yeah. Well, geez, just put the pressure on us over here.
That's right.
That's how we do guests.
Yeah.
It's all on you. You have to carry the show now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
sit back. It's like Beauty and the Beast, like be our guest, but you got to do all the work.
Well, just saying, if the tracks suck, I'm going to go with either it's Rob's fault or it's our first day.
Okay, that works. So what do you got for us, Rob, coming up?
All right, this is from the game Magical Tetris Challenge. It was released on the Nintendo 64, the PlayStation, and in the arcade in 1998. This is called Mickey's Theme. It's also called Versus Weasel, and it's composed by Masato Kauda. And we're listening to the Nintendo 64 version.
All right, let's hit it.
You are listening to Mickey's theme from the game Magical Tetris Challenge. This is music from the N64 version of the game. Also, it was on the Sony PlayStation and in the arcade over in 1998, composed by Masato Kauda. And yeah, I picked this track because of that bass. That synth bass. I'm a sucker for that wow sound. To me, it's like, it's kind of, I don't know, it's nice. It's nice in a... It's
like a neck slide.
Yeah, it's like a neck slide. It's kind of like it's kind of like a wink at the audience, but it's also kind of sexy, which is weird for a Disney game. But no, it's a cool looking Tetris game. But this
I think you mean right for a Disney game.
It's got a very smooth beat to go well with your Tetris stress that will inevitably show up to torment you as you play this game, which I've never actually played before, but I think I originally ignored it back then because I was like, oh, it's just Tetris, but it's got some Disney characters on it.
Yeah.
Admittedly, Pete does have a pretty swank hat on the cover.
He does.
That dude can dress. But at the same time, I just was not paying much attention to it, but we were like watching a little bit of stuff on it, before the episode, and it was actually pretty cool to see. It was like Tetris pieces that have like 5 and 6 blocks on them. And like weird shapes, and the freaking weasel, that cool weasel with the derby cap.
You can't get over that weasel, man.
He's awesome.
I wonder if he's called the Versus Weasel.
That's the thing is when I was looking up this track, I found it as because some sources call it Mickey's theme, but then if you look up on the actual soundtrack itself, I guess it's called Versus Weasel. So
maybe it's like when you play against the weasel. Does the weasel have a name?
Is it the weasel from like Roger Rabbit?
IR Baboon loves this track quite a bit.
No, it's from the third bass song. Pop pop goes the weasel, the weasel.
Oh, okay.
Anybody?
I love how we just shoveled like 3 different weasel bass references in there at once. That's a power combo right there, folks.
I think I'm out.
I just thought it was a reference to Pauly Shore.
The Weeze.
That's amazing.
Mercy.
I was like, we can't think of another one. He's like, yeah, we can.
4 weasel references.
But yeah, I think it's a great way to start the show too. It's got a good like kind of mid-tempo but driving beat and really nice melody, but like real deep groove. Good stuff.
I like that piano.
Yeah.
That was like right towards the end. That like
kind of jazzy.
Flourishes. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, but like you said, I really got sucked in by that bass and the sound effect that they used on it, like almost like a tubular sound effect or something was really like that was the highlight of the song.
I was saying during the break that I thought that it could have been a track from like something like Pocket Fighter.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like it's got that same like, or maybe like Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. Like it's got that very lighthearted Capcom feel that you only really saw in like their more lighthearted games. So I think this was the right fit for this track. To be played in this game. Now Masato Kauda worked on a lot of different stuff over the years. I guess mostly did work with Capcom, doing like Devil May Cry 1, 2, and also stuff like Monster Hunter, the first Monster Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
One of the reasons why it probably sounds so familiar, based on what I was talking about before, the person did the arrangement for Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo in '96.
Oh, no kidding.
As well as Mega Man 2, the Power Fighters. So got that kind of lighthearted feel on both of those soundtracks. Mm-hmm. And then kind of moved into... at later times, doing some stuff for Nintendo with Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, the Nintendo 3DS version, as well as Super Smash Bros. Brawl, did some arrangement there, as well as some sound design on The Evil Within in 2014, and their last game was Hey Pikmin in 2017.
Well,
so
Evil Within was quality, so if he has something to do with the sound in that, he deserves a cap.
Deserves a cap?
He deserves a cap, yes. Possibly Baltimore Ravens cap, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh
my God, what kind of man do you think I am?
I thought...
I wasn't sure.
Well, I was thinking like Cap Gun.
He's like, I thought he Cap,
or like Cap, like Capcom. Like I didn't know where you were going with that.
I thought he deserved some free dental work. I mean,
yeah. All right, so Pernell, you've got some more Disney goodness for us via Capcom. What did you pick?
Well, I went out on a weird limb for this episode because I didn't want to go with my usual Magic Disney Capcom love, so this is definitely the first of those. And this track is from a game called Adventures in the Magic Kingdom. Magical. And the track title is just called Spaceship, and it's composed by a great Yoko Shimomura in her early days.
Yes, and Yoshihiro Sakaguchi did programming on that one. So let's go ahead and give it a listen.
Blast off because you're coming down from listening to Spaceship from Adventures in the Magic Kingdom on the NES, composed by Yoko Shimomura. So, this track is full of life and energy and change-ups and jiggity-jaggers that makes you want to hop to some bop, and it also makes you kind of think this has to be in a great scenario from an awesome game because, quite frankly, how could it not be? Well, sorry to break that news to you, but oh my god, this section. Oh my god. So I had never played this game before, and I decided while listening to music from all these games, like, I want to play this. So I actually did boot up Adventures in the Magic Kingdom, started dabbling with it for a bit. Not as sorry as I am. That game, I could see some fun in, but spaceship level, like, there's two stages that are like platformish, but then the spaceship stage is just like sort of a cockpit that you can see.
Okay.
And you're supposed to be flying, and Mickey, this really horribly rendered Mickey, tells you, I'm going to give you directions. I can't do his voice. And he's like, hey, to find this magic key, just gotta fly this spaceship. I'll give you directions. So as you're playing the game, you're just watching a little screen at the bottom telling you whether to turn left, right, up, or down, and then whether to press A or B. Stuff's happening in the middle of the screen, but none of it matters because all you're watching for is his stupid arrow commands. It's not very exciting.
It sounds like Top Gun a little bit, like Top Gun on the NES, where you gotta like do the specific motions.
Pull up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pull down.
But I feel like Top Gun on the NES, though, like you have reason to actually look at what's happening in front of the plane. Whereas in this is just, you could theoretically not even look up, just look down and just follow the commands he gives you, and that's all you do. But I will say that the platforming sections seem to be pretty fun, though. There's like this little idea there where as you're running around trying to fulfill whatever objective that stage has, you have to collect star items, and you use the star items to go into your menu and actually buy power-ups. So you don't just collect power-ups, you have to purchase them with collected stars.
Yeah, it's remarkably complicated for this type of game.
Though I think the wonkiest part is one of the keys you have to get by answering Disney trivia questions around the park.
Oh, God.
Jeez, yeah.
So you played this one, right, Justin?
No, I have not.
Oh, you haven't?
I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen it?
I've watched sort of a Let's Play.
Oh, okay.
It was, oh boy.
Yeah. I've not played this one either, but I love this music. I mean, just super bouncy and happy and just over the top.
Yeah, the music in this game is quality. I mean, it shouldn't surprise us given the composer, but I mean, it just makes you wonder, like, someone sat down and thought, what would be awesome? Following directions on 1/4 of the screen. That would make that makes a lot of sense.
Granted, it's only one part of the game.
That is true. There's like a racing section. There's a platform. There's multiple platforming sections. It's just one of those where like some sections seem pretty cool, some not so great. And I guess you kind of have to take the good with the bad as you play it. But I just think it's funny that spaceship track to me is probably one of the best tracks in the game. But it's used during my least enjoyed segment of the game. I don't know. I also kind of wonder how would I have felt if I played this back when I was younger. Maybe it would have been an awesome segment. I don't know. I played it for the first time as a grown man. Maybe the Magic Kingdom magic was lost on me there.
I mean, I gotta say, like, knowing that this is a Yoko Shimomura track, I'm a little shocked because she doesn't normally do this kind of like super bouncy music. Most of her stuff is like RPGs. I mean, I guess like the Mario and Luigi games.
Experience grizzled her.
Well,
yeah, there you go.
Oh, as a games composer, I mean, you're writing for what you're what's asked of you. So
absolutely.
So I think I think she's just a successful composer in multiple styles, which I mean we've obviously heard over the course of her career. But like, there's so much going on with just the 4 voices, or even like actually with this track, there's only 3 voices. There's so much going on that you can hear her skill as a composer.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, I don't deny that. It's just, in my mind, I'm so used to hearing, like, if you say Yoko Shimomura, I'm thinking of 2 things, Street Fighter 2, or I'm thinking of, like, some of the stuff that we've played from her, like Parasite Eve, for example, which we played on episode 10.
Yeah.
You know, like, stuff like that. You know, the Mario and Luigi games, which I guess those are kind of lighthearted too, but this was just like
Kingdom Hearts.
Ooh. Yeah. Kingdom Hearts.
The Kingdom Hearts games.
That's her going back to Disney. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. There you go. Non-Capcom Disney. There you go. Just play all Kingdom Hearts.
There you go. Perhaps this track sounded somewhat familiar to me. It might have been from the other playthrough that I watched, or it might be that maybe they reuse part of the spaceship theme in the gummy ship portions of Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
Oh God, that gummy ship music is beastly. So good. Yeah. Hazardous Highway is a forever favorite.
Great song. I mean, say what you want about those sections of the game itself. That music is banging.
I don't really have a problem with those sections. They're fun. I mean, they're fun enough.
I'm not a Kingdom Hearts fan, but I mean, I love Yoko Shimomura's work, so you know, I'm a simple man. You tell me that Yoko Shimomura's in it, I'm probably gonna like the soundtrack. Hey, it looks like Janine is signaling us that we are getting a call, so we may as well take this one. You're on the air with XVGM Radio. Who's this?
Eddie, you gotta help me, please.
I think you have the wrong number. Why does this keep happening to us?
I don't know. This is a radio station. Anything you want to hear?
Yeah, buddy. Play a track for my sweetie Jessica from my Game Boy game. Would you, pal?
Oh, wow. That was something. So we're going to play, I believe that was Roger Rabbit, but we're going to play a track from Who Framed Roger Rabbit on the Game Boy. This came out in 1991. This is stages 5 and 6, and it's by Yasuaki Fujita.
You better play it fast, because it sounds like he's in trouble.
Yeah, right?
You're listening to XVGM Radio.
All right, welcome back to XVGM Radio. That was Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the Game Boy release that came out in 1991. That was stages 5 and 6 by Yasuaki Fujita. And I love this track. It's so jazzy, it's so Capcom, it's so fun. And it's got that like noir kind of feel to it, right? Like a detective. Yeah, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah,
right? Like the movie.
Like that.
Right.
Very, very swing, actually. It made me think of like zoot suits and riots and
and zoot suits and riots.
Yes, together.
Yeah.
So
zoot suit riot.
I'm going to ask.
You gotta help me.
I gotta ask the dumb question here because it's been so long since I've seen the movie. Who did frame Roger Rabbit? Was it the judge?
I thought it was the judge, right?
No, I don't think I think it was wasn't it the director? But sort of under. I mean, I guess it goes back to Judge Doom.
No, I thought it was Jessica, right?
Jessica didn't frame Roger. She loved that tune.
She was like up to no good, though, right?
No, she was all good.
No, yeah, no.
She's not bad. She's just drawn that way.
Right. She is so bad, so
no
badly
longer
drawn.
interested.
so badly drawn.
So badly.
That's the
drawn.
other one.
Yeah, right.
Actually, we're watching some playthrough of Roger Rabbit for the Game Boy, and you play as Roger Rabbit, and he is adorable. And the sprite is so cute, like way cuter than you would think.
So this game is like if the NES game was actually really good.
I was about to say, this looks nothing like the NES game, because I actually played that one, and it was
looks
rough.
awesome. I gotta pick this game up. So it's basically a adventure kind of game where you're like still going around finding clues just like in the other one, but there's no nonsense driving. Like you don't have to drive around in the buggy and the little whatever the car's name. What was the car's name? Like Sam?
Herbie?
No,
it wasn't Herbie.
Herbie Sam? Samby? I don't know.
Maybe it's Sandy.
Sandy. So you're driving around in the car in the NES one. This one you don't really have to. You can get transportation like on a bus or whatever, but like you're going around trying to find all these clues, and then you enter into like certain areas where you do like side-scrolling like action. So it's like platforming action kind of stuff, like you're like doing different attacks and whatnot. So it's really cool. The music's fantastic. It's just overall like it really is what the NES game should have been.
I gotta say, there were a number of cases with games transitioning from the NES to their Game Boy counterparts that ended up working out to be dang near better games than their NES counterparts. Like, this wasn't like a rare case at all.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Rare, I mean, Rare developed the NES game, and I think LJN put it out, like published it. But this one, depending on where you go, like to look up information about the game, it was published by Capcom and developed by Capcom in the US, but in, I believe it's Europe, it was actually published by Sunsoft.
Oh, yeah.
But there's no Dat Sunsoft bass.
Yeah,
so,
no, it's not a Sunsoft.
No. Can you imagine this song with Sunsoft bass?
That would work really well, actually. That kind of like fuzzy slap bass with that tune.
Somebody should remix this song and replace the bass with Sunsoft
with
bass.
Dat Sunsoft bass. Yeah. Right.
Or just with Pernell doing Dat Sunsoft bass.
Yeah.
That can be done.
Yeah.
Give me a bottle of Coke and a really large sugar cookie, and I can take care of this real quick.
Mike on the Game Boy and Pernell on the mouth bass.
Yes. There we go. So, Yasuaki Fujita worked on a lot of different stuff for Capcom for the most part, just like Final Fight. Mega Man 3 was one of the sound composers. Ooh. Mega Man 4 was the sound composer on Disney's Darkwing Duck. She was actually uncredited. I don't know if this is... the Fujitas are a husband and wife team. I think this is the husband. He's also known as Bun Bun.
Oh, that's Bun Bun!
This is Bun Bun, yes. So that's why you're getting that kind of like Mega Man 3 vibe, because this is the composer for Mega Man 3.
He composed on the best Mega Man games. I can't even...
Yes,
absolutely.
He
Mega
did.
Man 3 is my favorite as well.
Pernell gets a cookie. He did.
That's right.
He composed Mega Man 3.
Now, where's that Dr. Pepper?
Yes, exactly. I also did sound for like Punky Skunk, which is a kind of an underrated PlayStation 1 game. King of Fighters 95 did sound on that. Tomba was the sound effects designer. Kind of bouncing around. The last game they were credited for was Final Fight Double Impact, just basically because they did Final Fight. So
right.
And 1995 was an underrated year.
Yeah, I agree. Roger Rabbit was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid, and I used to have this like stuffed animal Roger Rabbit.
Me too.
And did you get it at Disney or?
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, you don't remember?
Possibly. We had a few Disney trips when I was a kid.
So did I. I mean, we had like I think maybe 2, and I remember getting the Roger Rabbit and having this Roger Rabbit for like a long time. And one trip that we went down to visit my grandfather in Florida, I accidentally left the Roger Rabbit in an elevator.
Oh no!
And like flipped out because I was a little kid. Yeah. I walked around with this thing everywhere. It was in my family for so long that when I was still living with my dad, like even throughout college, we had the Roger Rabbit on our windowsill looking out at, the front yard. So it's like I gotta find out what happened to that thing. I'm gonna call my dad at this episode. I gotta get some nostalgia on.
My brain just went into a weird place. He was like, I had this Roger Rabbit and I lost it and I totally flipped out. My first thought was like, I wonder what wild takes he was doing at the time.
Well, that was like, I don't know, 6 or something, 6 or 7. So.
If your dad can't find it, are you gonna go into like this kind of low key panic mode?
Yeah, I'm gonna have like anxiety for the next
your eyes bugged out and your tongue tied itself into a knot, and then you're like. You did a weird thing where you spun your body and you wrung your arms out and
that's coming out your eyeballs.
Yeah,
no, I'll be like, I'm gonna call him up and be like, "Hey, Dad, where's the Roger Rabbit? I gotta know, please." Like,
you're no son of mine.
Yeah. Get out
until you can do a proper Roger Rabbit impression.
Yeah. That's it. Get out. I'm not here.
Sounds like the fates did you a favor. Dad. Oh, right.
Oh, boy. All right. Let's move on. So, Justin, what do you got for us?
So, next up, we're going to hear a track from the Misky
Mousecapade.
From the Misky Mousecapade.
Oh, I love that game.
Starring Dolan and Gooby.
Yeah.
And,
I love Gooby.
The hunt for this perfect almond joy.
Oh my god. So next up, we're going to hear a track from Mickey Mousecapade on the NES, which came out in 1998. The track is called Pirate Ship, and it was composed by Takeaki Kunimoto. Thank you for listening. That was Pirate Ship from 1998's Mickey Mousecapade on the NES, composed by Takeaki Kunimoto.
I've never played this one.
No?
No, but you have.
I have. This game haunts my nightmares.
Oh boy.
It's a brute.
It's pretty brutal. I mean, for one, the color palettes are a little, but mostly in the first level. It gets better as you get through, but the first level is kind of strenuous. It's like you're in this like house in the first level, and all the walls are green, like green wood paneling in every room. It's crazy. Like lime green.
delicious.
But you play as Mickey and Minnie together, running around, holding hands, going through different levels. Starting off going through like a fun house.
Can you leave one of them in the dust?
I
think one can die or get knocked out.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like an Ice Climbers thing in
Yes.
Smash Brothers where like one can die? Okay.
Yeah, or one gets captured and then you can find them later in the level.
Oh, so that's what you do. It ultimately is just like make one of them,
Get captured?
Yeah.
No, you don't know.
Immediately
firepower.
leave like Minnie in the dust and
Never.
just play through the game as Mickey.
That'd be insane. You get twice the firepower. You don't want to leave one behind.
Yeah, whenever you hit the fire button, they both throw.
Oh, they both
stars.
throw. Oh, okay. So then,
So, yeah.
all right. So then it's worth.
Minnie's
I thought
like
it was
an option.
Okay. Now I see. Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, you're traveling through a fun house, through the ocean, through the forest. The third level is a pirate ship, which is where this track came from, and then the castle, trying to rescue someone that they only mention as a friend.
Oh, really?
I'm sure they're more than a friend.
What, like Mickey and Minnie's like couple
Yeah.
friend or something?
They're clearly swingers. If you
Oh,
play the
okay.
game, you'd know.
Oh, really? Okay.
Did you Did you finish this game back in the day, or did you play it later on? Or
I did not. I played it as a child. It was one of the handful of games that my grandmother had at her house with the NES. When we went to go to my grandmother's house, we had like a VHS player with some like 5 VHSs and I think like 3 or 4 games. It was this like that really awful Muppets NES game, and I want to say Gauntlet. But
the first Gauntlet?
The first
from the NES?
Gauntlet,
Okay.
the black cartridge. It was very difficult. I never finished it as a kid. I got really frustrated with it. It was super hard to me. If I went back and played it now, who knows what would happen, but can't really break those Nintendo controllers.
Yeah.
I will say this is one of those perk moments where not hanging out with, not doing a lot of crazy stuff outside and having not enough games. I did play through this one and knock it out as a child, but it took a lot. Because this game is not easy. It's cheap as the dickens.
Yes.
And I just so much about it. Like just for example, the first level, just the chandeliers alone were a nuisance. Because like you knew the chandelier was going to fall, and it was still hard to dodge, even knowing it was going to happen. It was just the game was designed in so many ways just to make your life suck. But the music was good, and it had Mickey and Minnie in it. So the way your brain was telling it was like, oh, it's got Disney. It's like thereby it has to be fun. So an adventure with my favorite mouse, yeah.
With that sweet Minnie Mouse.
And the funny part is, I didn't even put this together until like literally just now, because I looked it up on a wiki that apparently this game was about. It was like basically meant to be like Alice. It was based on Alice in Wonderland as far as the characters and stuff went. So like apparently the friend, because I didn't know the friend either. The friend was Alice.
Yeah.
And you were saving Alice from the castle. But they did a lot of character switching around. So like at the end of the original game, the boss was Maleficent, which I knew. But what I didn't realize is the Japanese version, the boss was the Queen of Hearts, and they did a lot of weird stuff like that.
Huh.
Yeah, apparently on the in the Japanese version, Alice is prominently featured on the box art too. So,
oh wow!
Yeah, the Japanese version of this game makes the premise a little bit more apparent.
It must have been a rights thing.
Yeah, maybe.
But I mean, it's Disney. Don't they own the rights to Alice? Well, Alice in Wonderland's like an open.
They have a U.S. movie. Like Disney owns a movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, they're like, Americans aren't sophisticated enough to understand this cross-reference here.
Probably. Apparently, if you open the card up and take a look at the circuit board, they put a hidden Mickey on the circuit board.
Oh, that's
no
cool.
way. Oh, that's
like
neat.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Huh. Musically, this doesn't quite sound Capcom-ish.
No,
and there's a reason for that.
There's a reason for that because the game was published by Capcom, but it was developed by Hudson Soft.
Right. Yeah. So that's why we were trying to look up information about Takeaki Kunimoto, and I was like, this doesn't seem right. This composer only did like Hudson Soft games.
Yep.
And then we found out, whoops.
Yeah.
On that note, it still counts because it was published by Capcom.
Yeah. And I mean, it's still a pretty good soundtrack. So speaking of Takeaki Kunimoto, he was actually a friend. Speaking of Ryu Umemoto earlier in this podcast, Takeaki was a friend of Ryu Umemoto, and since his passing, he has held several memorial concerts, as well as taken part in tribute albums for his friend Umemoto.
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
So, but his list of works includes, as you said, many Hudson Soft games, starting in 1985 with a game called Challenger, Star Soldier in 1986, Million's Secret Castle in 1986 as well, Dino Riki again in 1986.
Yes.
And then
a lot of good hits
game
there.
Yeah. Finishing up in 1987 with games called Starship Hector, Robo Warrior, and Momotaro Denset.
Yeah, and it looks like he also did a little bit of PC Engine stuff too. Did that game JJ and Jeff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I dig this track. I mean, it has like a more serious tone than most of the other Capcom tracks that we've played, which were a lot more lighthearted. This one sounds like you're running out of time.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, I can see that. It's it's got sort of like a
whirling bass.
Yeah.
You know, like yeah.
I thought it had like a militaristic kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Like you're racing against the clock to save Alice from Maleficent. Otherwise, off with her head.
Still have a whole other level to go through. Why are they rushing you at this point?
Because this boat's about to set sail. That's why.
That's
time to wait.
So we're going from one type of ship to another type of ship.
Oh.
We're moving into the next pick. What do you have for us?
Well, I am too old for this ship.
No.
This is this is from the 1991 NES title The Little Mermaid, and this is the track called The Sunken Ship from the composer Yasuaki Fujita. You are back where the people are.
Oh.
That's from Pernell. I'm giving it to him. This is from The Little Mermaid for the NES. The Sunken Ship, composed by Yasuaki Fujita. So yeah, this is a fun one, right? This is a fun track, right?
Yeah, don't hurt me. This is a good track.
I love this track. I dislike this game pretty immensely.
I thought you liked it.
Yeah, I thought you were saying you love the little fish.
The little fish.
He liked the little fish, but I guess he didn't like the Little Mermaid.
So all right, let me tell you all about this game. So this is a Capcom game where you play as Little Mermaid, obviously. It's based on the movie. You're going through as Ariel, and you're really kind of hard to control in this game because when you move her, she like swings her giant fish ass like around the corner.
Okay,
so like
but
when you're turning her,
is good. It looks really good.
Oh, it looks good,
Yeah.
but like movement is slow with her, and then on top of that, like there is a speed button that you can hold down, but the whole point of the game is you have to shoot bubbles to capture these enemies. Mm-hmm. And then once you do that, then you can throw them like in the bubbles.
Oh, bubbly.
Yeah, kind of.
Little, yeah.
But it's I don't want to say a platform game because there's no real platforms. It's more like you're just moving around like
because you can
under
move
the sea.
Yeah, you can move all over the screen. And it's not like you have to jump on platforms and stuff.
Right. I mean, like there's a little bit of jumping that you can do. Like if you jump up on like land, like on certain spots of land, and then you just kind of have to like fish hump the ground until you get to the next area.
I mean, we normally use the word scoot, but
no,
fish hump.
No, because when you see her do it, she's fish humping. Like I don't know.
Mike is a marine biologist. He knows what he's talking about.
I'm a professional
trained
here.
in this.
Come on. So, anyways, when you there's these treasure chests that you can get that you can do power-ups to like increase bubble power and like the range of the bubbles, and there's some enemies that like you just can't beat basically it's like Gradius in the sense that when you die and you have to start over, like it's so difficult to start over.
Yeah.
Because you have to get these treasure chests, and not all the treasure chests can be opened with like one shot. So you basically have to luck out and get like these. You have to like find them in the sand or whatever, like these the power ups. Oh. So it's kind of like self-defeating, because it's like the game really could have been really awesome, but the issue is that you can't get the power-ups to be able to make the game playable.
Yeah, what they should have done is done something like in the Castlevania games, where if you die and you go back to the basic whip, and then the first few enemies you kill, like the first 10 enemies you kill, you get the power-up, and the next 10 enemies you get the next, like you get your power-ups really quickly, you just have to earn it.
It's just, it makes it really difficult when you go up against bosses too. I mean, graphically this is a gorgeous game. It's really pretty. It's a lot of it's a lot of fun in the sense that when you're playing it, you feel like you should be having more fun than you are, and then like when you actually sit down and play it, you're like, oh, this game isn't that great. So I personally am not a fan of it, but I know there's a Game Boy version. I don't know if the Game Boy version is any better or worse or whatever.
See, no, it's actually interesting, because this is another one of the games that used to be at my grandmother's house, and I've actually beaten this game, and as a child, that was a rarity for me. So like thinking back on it and thinking like it was definitely a hard game, but I don't know. I guess I either just kind of got through it or I had more fun with it. But I remember when I watched your review on it, I was just like, that's not what I remember. I remember having fun with this game.
Yeah, I mean, like, I also remember having fun with it back in the day because I rented it.
Maybe we just looked at it differently as children.
I guess. I mean, like, playing it now, I was just super disappointed in it. I mean, you also have to keep in mind the last time I played it was when I reviewed it on my channel, which was like 4 years ago, something like 4 or 5 years ago. So I don't know, maybe it is better. I don't know, I'll have to sit down and play it. I feel like this game could have been better. And I love the Little Mermaid movie. Like, it's one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. So, you know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Janina signaling us again. We have another call. Caller, you're on the air with XVGM Radio. Who's this?
Hello. Is Daisy Duck there?
I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong number. This is XVGM Radio. Who is this?
Never mind. Sorry to bother you.
Is this Mickey Mouse?
What? No. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't tell Donald.
All right, it looks like they hung up.
I'm pretty sure that was Mickey Mouse.
There's a lot going on in the Magic Kingdom this weekend.
Wow. He must owe somebody. He must owe Donald money or something. I don't know what that's about.
This happens more often than not on this show, but it's a pretty good segue into our next.
And you know,
track.
it's funny that it happened on to the last guest.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. You would think we write this stuff or something,
right?
Yeah, this is like where Mickey Mouse is like just like gets drunk and calls all of his podcasts, and he's like, "Come on, put me on the air."
Yeah. Oh, play me. All right.
Well, in honor of Mickey's crank call or whatever this was,
Mickey's crank call. That sounds like a good game.
It's soon to come out.
Yeah, made by Capcom.
Yes.
But let's go listen to Factory from Mickey's Dangerous Chase on the Game Boy in 1991, composed by Keiji Sakata.
All right.
Welcome back. You are on the move, listening to the Factory theme from the game Mickey's Dangerous Chase, composed by Keiji Sakata. This game was one of my childhood favorites on the old Game Boy Spanish green. Some screen image there. Gameplay-wise, it worked sort of like Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, but for one player. And it was a lot of fun, honestly. How fun was it? Well, I can tell you now, in anticipation of this episode, I got a little on a nostalgic trip, and I played through the entire game last night. Nice. It was still enjoyable. It is funny because even as an adult, I feel like I had much more trouble with this as a child, but the same sticking point existed, which is the beginning of the game. So the premise of this title, which is hilarious, but it's a Disney game, so what do you expect? Mickey bought a present for Minnie, and then that dirty Pete, he stole the present. Goofy saw him do it, so it had to be true. So what happens? Mickey and Minnie go to chase him down to get it back. And this takes them from Mickey's neighborhood to a weird forest to a mountain, then to the industrial and then business districts, which, by the way, Pete is really weird with his methodology here because he went to the woods and the mountains and just went back to town. Like, he should have just stayed in town and then made his escape to the mountains. But what do I know? I'm just a god. But the game always pretty much plays in the same manner, which is you go from stage to stage. Each level is 2 normal stages, and then the last level is a quote-unquote vehicle stage. One level is like a boat. One level you're like riding on the backs of birds or balloons or whatever. And I think it's funny how a lot of the game goes Goofy's like, "Oh, help you guys go." And it's like, so how does he help you? He stands at the end of the stage and tells you where Goofy went and where Pete went next. Which is funny because it's like, so wait a minute, I went through all this crap and you were already at the end of the level waiting for me. So why don't you get the present back?
So he plays like plays like Toad at the end. He's like, "Oh, you went that way."
Yeah, it's pretty much what he does at the end of every stage. Oh, we just missed him. He went down. I was like, "Why didn't you stop him, you stupid dog?" Well, I'm just Goofy. Gosh. Like, geez, clearly there's a problem here. And but the game itself is a lot of fun. It's really simple to start, but then when you get towards the industrial district, which is the second to last set of levels, and which the factory is a part of, the game gets weird with some pretty tricky jumps. So Mickey picks up blocks and throws them, but some sections they actually require you to jump, kind of start falling down, and then hook around, grab a block, and then land in the spot where the block used to reside. And it can get to be pretty tricky at times.
Oh, wow. That's like some gimmick level, like, stuff.
Yeah.
It gets a little rough for sure. And I think it's
I picked this one up fairly recently, actually. Like, I had heard about it, like, maybe, 2 months ago. And I had heard that it was like Rescue Rangers, which is one of my favorite games. And I was like, oh, I'll pick it up. And it's a really fun game. And it's got a great soundtrack, too, so... Yeah.
Yes, like I almost picked the vehicle stage. Yeah, the factory fits that well because it's like conveyor belts and gears that are floating in the air for some reason. And it's a general good time. Lots of spikes because somebody designed the factory to have spikes. Clearly a crew who did not want people to get their work done. But whatever. What do I know? This is Toontown, baby.
This is Toontown. So this one's not composed by anybody from Capcom, right? This is actually developed by Now Production Company Limited, but it's published by Capcom, kind of similar to what we were talking about before.
I think it's interesting how this works too, because I mean, it's hard to say as adults because now we do these podcasts, we have to kind of do a little bit more digging. But when we were younger, if the name was on the box, they made the game.
Yeah.
It was like Capcom did it, and unfortunately,
if it had that purple border.
It was a Capcom production. And I'm sure the other production companies were like, oh no, just like how Capcom, like we were talking about earlier, Bun Bun composed a track for this game. Yeah, it was another person with an actual name, but we were kids. It was right there. We saw Bun Bun. You wanted to meet Bun Bun someday.
So who composed this one?
Let me see. So it was Keiji Sakata for this one. I don't know what his usual, what other stuff he's done, unfortunately, because believe it or not, this is the first that I recall hearing his name. Though
I believe that composer is another Hudson Soft employee.
Yeah, Rob just pulled something up, and he composed for another game I love, which is New Adventure Island.
He did the sound and sound effects for some other games, New Adventure Island, Doraemon, and Dragon Saber. I think these are all TG16 games.
Yep.
New Adventure Island, that's one of those games that I actually bought on my PlayStation Vita. Like one of those TurboGrafx ports they put on there. And I still play it on a regular basis because that game has some swank music.
They did the sequel to Dragon Spear, which is Dragon Saber.
Because Rob just mentioned Dragon Spirit, so that's a sequel to Dragon Spirit?
I think so.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
so I got to get down with that. Yeah,
also the music for Galaga 88, which has got a great soundtrack too. So, yeah, good stuff, but it's short list.
So we're moving from one factory level where you throw boxes around to another factory level where you throw boxes around.
Oh my.
Yes, this is one of my favorites. This is Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers on the NES. This came out in 1990, and this is Zone J, and it's by Harumi Fujita. Welcome back. That lovely little track was from Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers on the NES that came out in 1990. And that was Zone J by Harumi Fujita. And I love this track. This is one of my favorite NES tracks. And it's just, I love how bouncy it is. And I also love how it's also super serious at the same time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's got a great, like, driving bass line to it as well. And it's got this sound to it that makes it almost sound like a Master System game with those, like, twinkly, like, do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. It's got a Master System kind of vibe to it a little bit. So it's a very unique track for the NES as far as the sound on this goes. But, Pernell, you had mentioned during the break while we were listening that this sounds like something from Mega Man, and I could not agree more.
That was definitely a Rob observation, but I have to say I agree with you guys on said assessment. And I also feel like this track is well suited for a game where it ultimately results in you losing your friends by the end of the play session.
It's one of the best. I love this, man. It's one of the best co-op games. I have some very fond memories of playing this.
Are you telling me you've played this with friends and concluded and you deepened your friendship?
Yeah,
I had the opposite effect.
I don't know them anymore, so
I gotta. Oh well, there you go.
I've been thrown out
go
of
with Pernell on
houses
this one
because of this game, and I'm not even making that up. I've gotten thrown out of people's houses playing this game. It is no joke.
I can't play this game with other people. I have to play it. I've played it with other people, and I usually end up like beating the game on my own because they end up dying in like the second to last level. Even people who are like committed, who are like, yeah, no, we're gonna get this, who are like competent like video game players just like you. If you go and like you start playing the game and they start doing really bad, then the way they make it is if Chip and Dale are both playing and then one person dies, the other person has to continue.
Yeah.
And so they can't get back in the game at all, period. I think both of you have to die, then you get to continue, and then you can play.
And the thing is, even if the other person is in some way competent, all it takes is one scroll off the screen to piss me off, and then you won't be competent anymore. Because I'm going to hit you with a crate. Hey, you're going to die.
I'm going to pick you up and throw you off the ledge.
Exactly.
No, just pick you up and then just bring you where you need them to go. That's usually that would usually end up being what happens whenever I play
am literally carrying you through this game.
Yeah, I'm literally carrying you through it. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think we all pretty much agree that this is a childhood classic, and this is one of my favorite cartoons of the Disney afternoon.
Yeah. So I do need to try the second game. I never did. Everybody and their grandma tells me it's bad, but I can't fathom this sequel being bad because it's a very simple concept of pick up block, throw block. That's the game.
I mean, they may be confusing the word bad for expensive because the second game is so expensive now. It's like a $250 game loose. What's cool is that in the second game, the plot is a lot more fleshed out, which is nice because the plot in the first one really doesn't make any sense. It's like you're saving a little kitten, but the kitten's like smaller than. I don't know. Like I didn't fully understand it. And then there's like a rocket in the end. So in order to get to this stage in Zone J, you have to beat all the levels, and then you have to go to this island area. And in order to get to the island area, you have to go in a rocket ship. So you go in the rocket ship, and literally all it does is go straight up, and then drop straight down. If there's no movement at all, it's literally, you know, it's pretty hilarious. Yeah. So I thought that was funny. So Harumi Fujita, again, we've been talking about the Fujitas quite a bit, worked on the Speed Rumbler in 1986. That was their first game. That was an arcade and Commodore 64 game. Ghosts and Goblins in 86, Tiger Road in 1987. Did sound composition uncredited on Bionic Commando, though I don't know about that because I know that Junko Tamiya worked on Bionic Commando, so maybe like she worked on like one of the tracks. I'm not entirely sure. Worked on Willow and Strider. I believe that was the NES release. Willow, yeah. Willow's a good game.
That's a great game.
That's a fun one. Yeah. Worked on Final Fight and then worked on Skyblazer in 93, so jumped ship to Sony to work on that. Bounced around quite a bit and worked on Punky Skunk.
There's a lot of Punky Skunk going on this episode.
Yeah. Tomba in 97 and a game called Rabbit in 97, which I've never heard of. Oh, that's a fighting game. That's right.
It's just called Rabbit?
It's called Rabbit. It's a Japanese-only fighting game that came out in the Sega Saturn and the arcade. Pretty cool stuff. Final game that they were credited for was, I guess, A Bobo's Big Adventure, which had just game music from a previous title. Other than that, Final Fight Double Impact in 2010 and in 2000, Magical Tetris Challenge, probably for the, I believe, the Game Boy Color version, so which we talked about earlier. Yep. All right, so let's move into our next set of tracks. What do you got for us?
So, lined up on deck, we have a track from the Darkwing Duck game on the Nintendo Entertainment System. The game came out in 1992. The track is called Megavolt Stage, and it was composed by Yasuaki Fujita.
Another Fujita. All right, let's hit it.
Welcome back. Not only am I the terror that flaps in the night, but I am also the little mouse that eats your cheese, and that was Darkwing Duck.
You're not the peanut butter that sticks to the roof of my mouth?
No, I did that one during the break.
Oh, okay.
So that was Darkwing Duck on the NES back in 1992. The track was called Megavolt Stage, and the composer, who we've talked a bit about, is Yasuaki Fujita.
Yes.
Blathering Blatherskite. That track is legit.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Love that track. I love the jazzy, bouncy vibe that it kind of gives. A lot of bounce to these Capcom tracks.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's almost like they have a thing with bounciness.
Here's the thing, and I just wanted
and I don't think they really do. Like, not all their tracks are like that.
Oh, sure.
Like, a lot of the ones that we've picked, particularly the Disney ones.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that because there was recently a video that came out from that Red Bull Music Academy. I don't know if you guys saw the video.
No, I haven't seen it
where it was Manami Matsume and Yoko Shimomura, and they were sitting down like chit-chatting about like their days in Capcom, and they were talking about how like apparently the building the security, like the doors would close by a certain point, so they would basically lock you in the building, and then you wouldn't be able, like if you had to deliver something by a certain point, you had to drop it off like one level down. Like I guess like the elevators would lock or something like that. I don't know. I didn't really. I was kind of confused by how she was explaining it. But the bottom line is she had to burn the tracks to an EEPROM, and then like she had to pass it along like on a line, like either like a string or a fishing line or something like that, down to the lower floor. and then she would get a call like in a half an hour to find out whether or not the EEPROM was good or not. Yeah. And they would more often than not like call and be like, "Oh, it's busted. You got to give us another one." So
I can't
it's kind of funny.
It was like a secret spy handoff.
There's on the other video game, the Granddaddy video game music podcast, the Legacy Music Hour. They recently had an interview with Tim Fallon, and he talked about his writing process of just coding it by hand and listening back to it over and over and over again. Not even coding in notes, but just numbers and letters that he knew coded back into specific tones that he could hear. And so, like, to me, like, those are completely different ways of composing music. One is just by playing it back by ear, and then the other is writing it all out on a staff. Yeah, it's just very. I think that that's just a composer preference, but something that they didn't have the luxury of doing all the time.
That's true.
All right, now I have a quick question before we change gears, because I don't want to forget. And it's been bugging me since we first mentioned this game. So
yes, we can go to prom.
Oh, shucks, baby, yeah! I don't remember a ton about the Darkwing Duck cartoon, but I'm trying to remember, was he one of those incompetent heroes where his sidekicks did all the work, like his niece Gabby?
No, he was not an investigator.
He's not Inspector Gadget.
That's what Inspector Gadget is.
So he was good at his job.
What were you going to say, Investigator Gadget?
For some reason the word investigator came out of my mouth, and then I didn't know what the next word was. Was it investigator? No.
Wowzers.
Yeah, but because he had Launchpad was bumbling. His
Gosling, right?
Gosling was like Penny, but she didn't always need to save him. Sometimes her meddling worked out. Sometimes it got her into more trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
He was actually a fairly decent hero in his own right.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, he got sort of stuck with Gosling, and the whole show was about him having to balance his hero stuff.
His dad life.
Yeah,
his dad life and superhero life.
Exactly.
Right.
So
it's all about that dad / superhero life.
So
Mike knows all about that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Darkwing Duck cartoon. It was pretty much like Darkwing Duck and Chippendales Rescue Rangers. That were like my favorites.
Those were high on my list. I liked Goof Troop a lot too.
And Gargoyles.
Gargoyles was pretty good.
Gargoyles was legit. That was probably my favorite one, though I still like to make jokes about.
One of my favorites.
Where is Avalon sent us this time? That's like the line I remember most from that blasted shit.
Yeah.
So this game is pretty much a Mega Man ripoff, though.
Yeah.
I mean, but you can, kind of, because you can do stuff you can't do in Mega Man, like you can block shots, which is pretty cool.
You can duck.
And you can duck, and you can hang on stuff, too.
You're a duck, and you can duck. So it was less about getting boss weapons and more about, like, I think there were, like, a few different, like, you had, like, a gas gun. There were specialty gases you could pick up during the stage. That's right, yeah. But, yeah, if you look at, like, the layouts of the stage, like, some of the stages look like Gutsman's level. Stuff like that. So, yeah, it definitely took heavy inspiration from Capcom's other, big game, Mega Man.
Very good. All right, let's move into our next track. What do you got for us, Rob?
All right, so our next track is from the game Disney's Aladdin for the
Aladdin
for the Super Nintendo in 1993. This is Stage 2, The Caves, composed by Setsuo Yamamoto, Yuko Takahara, and Yuki Iwai. And the original music is by Alan Menken. So this is an track arranged for the Super Nintendo, huh?
I believe so, yeah. I mean, Alan Menken is credited on the
whole thing.
I believe on the whole thing, because there's a bunch of tracks that were from the movie. So I think they just kind of, if this is an original track, then it's just like a generic, like, oh, by the way, he did the music for the movie. So.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. I haven't really seen the movie in a long time, but
yeah, me neither.
But it's a really, really good adaptation if it is, and it sounds great on the Super Nintendo. So let's check it out. Stage 2, cool. The Caves. This is Stage 2, The Caves, from Disney's Aladdin for the Super Nintendo, composed by Setsuo Yamamoto, Yuko Takahara, Yuki Iwai, and possibly adapted from the music of Alan Menken.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm thinking no.
This track sounds like an original.
It does sound. That's why I wanted to pick it, because it sounds like RPG Super Nintendo music, but super cinematic at the same time. The way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's dynamic in that there's like 4 or 5 different parts that cut in and cut out. And then towards the very end of the loop, there's this little that little trumpet section that's kind of like marching forward, and then it goes back into like that kind of magical. It's really clever. It's a clever tune. And
this sounds like something from Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Yes,
same sound style.
Yeah, but very much a little bit like how Super Ghouls and Ghosts has lots of disparate parts that kind of get put together in a cinematic way, I feel.
Well, like those horns, like the doo-doo-doo, like those horns that kind of came in, and then those like more fluty type, do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, like the little like trills and stuff.
Yeah.
I like the song a lot. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And it's very cave-like too, because it's kind of understated.
Yeah, no, that's true. I haven't, I'm a bigger fan of the Genesis one. I mostly played the Genesis version of this game, which was done by Virgin.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I had the Genesis version, and I was really into it, and I played the heck out of it. And then I would go to a friend's house who had the Super Nintendo version, and I remember it had a lot more of like a kind of parkour type elements where you're kind of like hanging off ledges and stuff, kind of Prince of Persia-y.
Yes, I was just gonna say Prince of Persia.
Yeah, it was, and I thought that was really neat. It was really cool how they were very different games, but I love the look of the Genesis version because it was very fluid animation.
Oddly enough, I've never even played the Super Nintendo one. I only ever played the Genesis one.
No kidding.
Ad nauseum at that.
Which one was the one where you had to ride the carpet through like the
Genesis one? But I think the Super Nintendo one may have had a section like that.
I think
too.
they both did.
Yeah. They had similar sections at points. Like, I remember I played this version first, and I was a Super NES guy or kid growing up, but I went to a friend of mine's house because I had to get like dropped off for school at a different time or whatever for one day. So like, my dad dropped me off, and we had a bunch of time to kill. So he was like, the kid I'm still friends with him, but he was like, "Do you want to play some video games?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. What do you got?" And he had Aladdin. So
we just adopted that.
We started playing it on the Genesis because I didn't own a Genesis, and I thought, wow, this is really cool. So like, I kind of have a little bit of nostalgia for like very few Genesis games, but that's one of them. And so that when I picked up my Genesis back when I was in college, like that's one of the first games that I picked up was like that, Castlevania Bloodlines, and like I think Mega Turrican. So yeah. So composer-wise, Yuki Iwai worked on this one. Yuki Iwai also worked on the Mega Man X series along with Setsuo Yamamoto. So they both kind of have been Capcom composers for a very long time. Setsuo Yamamoto worked on tons of stuff like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Strider 2, Project Justice, Mega Man 2 The Power Fighters also did music on that. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Mega Man The Power Battle, just like so much stuff. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse they were uncredited for, but they did work on that. And he was the sound studio coordinator on Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. So yeah, still working for Capcom today. Yuki Iwai's last game was R-Type Command in 2007, and Yuko Takahara was also a Capcom composer, working on most of the titles that we had already mentioned, including Mega Man 7, Mega Man 6, Mighty Final Fight, and also did work on some newer games, like newer versions of games like Disney's Magical Quest starring Mickle Mouse.
Starring Michelob.
Starring Michelob.
Michelob Mouse.
Disney's Magical Quest starring Mickey and Minnie.
Sadly, that's the only Disney I grew up with.
Michelob Mouse.
Hello, darkness,
Mega
my
Man
old
10.
friend.
Mega Man 10 was Yuko Takahara's last game, so.
At least went out with a bang. So, that game has some good jams to it.
Yeah. So we're rounding the corner to our final track, revisiting the Disney afternoon. What do you got for us, Pernell?
Well, glad to hear that. I'm going to be taking us out on quite the banger, composed by the recently mentioned Yuko Iwai. from a game that has been on my need to play list, and it'll probably happen this weekend, to be honest with you, list for quite some time. This game being Disney's Goof Troop for the Super Nintendo. Track title is Sea Robber. Yep, composed by Yuki Iwai.
Oh, look.
All right, you guys stop dancing, because it is time to get back to the show. And what we just stopped dancing to was the track Sea Robber from the game Goof Troop for the Super Nintendo, composed by Yuki Iwai. So I know now from picking this track for this episode that I'm going to be tapping my toes when I finally get my hands on this little gem of a piece. It is a top-down sort of adventure game where you are exploring various locations in an attempt to rescue Pete and PJ, two people, well, one of which generally dislikes the Goof family, and then his son, who just happens to exist in that household for some unfortunate reason. And so you're going around exploring these locations, trying to acquire like items and means to get to the next zone, and you can't actually physically hurt the enemies in your own way. I think you can like push objects into them or something, like kick barrels or rocks, and you eat fruit to get hit points, to absorb hits. But it is a game that is extremely colorful, very vibrant, and the music does a very good job of presenting you with giving you a sort of cartoon adventure atmosphere. Well loved on the Super Nintendo throughout. I think even today, people have a large fondness or a quality fondness for this product.
I had I watched the cartoon and I never played the game. The only thing I know about this game is that Shinji Mikami worked on it, and this was his first game before he worked on a couple years before he worked on Resident Evil.
Really?
So
that's a turn right there.
Yeah, this is like one of his first games, or like this was one of his games that he actually had like a severe hand in, or maybe like the first game he directed.
Oh, very cool.
Almost
it's got a cool
Resident
co-op mode to it.
Yeah, you can play together. One is Max and one is Goofy, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm surprised there's no like Goof Troop Easter eggs hidden in Resident Evil 1. Of course, I'm actually afraid of what those Easter eggs would be, like Goofy's severed head inside one of the labs or something, which would be disturbing.
Oh.
Well, I mean, if you rub up against the zombies enough, you'll stick together.
Yeah.
Oh.
Goof Troop, 'cause they always stick together.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
There's a great speedrun on YouTube that was on one of the Awesome Games Done Quick charity streams where it's co-op, but it's one person playing both controllers.
Oh my god,
wow,
that's crazy.
It's really cool. Yeah.
That's fun.
That's why I like that stream.
It does make me wonder now. I've never played it. You might not remember, but if you do, you can answer. Did the game in co-op mode have puzzles that require like both players, or do you like have the guy kind of like lingering in the corner, not getting hit?
No. It's you gotta do them both. Like some things have to happen simultaneously. Some things like you have to move blocks for the other player.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I would imagine if you're playing one player, you still play as Goofy and Max, but you like switch back and forth, right?
I'm not sure. My logic is that you just pick one and play through the game.
Oh really? Oh okay. I mean that would be kind of cool. That would make it kind of like Adventures of Cookies and Cream.
I love cookies and cream. That was in the game.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
So Goof Troop, did you guys watch this cartoon?
I did.
I did not.
Yeah.
I felt like
I never
that
saw
was
the movie
like
though.
later on, and I wasn't like watching like the cartoons.
Yeah, a Goofy movie, and then followed up by an extremely Goofy movie. So extreme.
That one I've never seen. I've only ever seen the
It's
first
not good.
not,
It's
okay.
really not good. A Goofy movie is great. It's actually one of my wife's like favorite movies of all time. So
that was the one where
stuff.
like he tries to meet like the rock star or something.
yeah, Powerline. Yeah,
That's awesome.
good stuff.
Because the commercial kept airing that same song, "We're gonna be friends" or something like that.
Powerline sounds like a really cool like 1970s kind of like synth rock group.
What, and Goof
Powerline
Troop
sounds
ended
like
up being like this 90s guy in like electric power suit and
yeah.
shades.
I was gonna say
He's like,
Powerline sounds like a really good like video game boss name. I'm Powerline. You know.
I feel like it would be a Darkwing Duck villain.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, except they
beat-
already had one.
You
Megavolt,
got
yeah.
an
Megavolt,
extremely
yeah.
large electric bill.
I'm imagining them playing music like Morris Day and the Time.
So, musically speaking, this track is very Capcom. It's got that nice Mega Man X kind of like tone to it. That I dig. It's not like hard rockin', but it's like if Mega Man X was easy listening.
It's rockabilly.
Easy to listen to.
Yeah,
It's got a rockabilly hit.
Mega
to it.
rockabilly.
Which is why I know Pernell's into it because he digs that sound.
I was bopping this song for quite a bit last
Bopping
night.
song.
It's a very boppy song. The one thing that throws me off about it is that I couldn't really identify what the instrument was, but it sounded kind of like if you took
It's a sousaphone.
Yeah, if you took the sound that plays on game shows when you get an answer wrong, and then you just pitch it up and down for whatever note you need. Yeah,
Like that?
that's what it sounded like. To me.
Okay. So I don't know about you guys, but like Max always like I always like self-identified with Max and his constant need to be like independent and like just move away, like get away from his dad as fast as possible. Like I always kind of like weirdly identified with that, so I was always like yeah, Max, yeah, I get it, Max. I always thought it was weird, and I always felt bad for PJ. Like I feel like
PJ grew up in an abusive home.
yeah, right?
Totally did.
Yeah.
I can't say I relate to Max in that regard because I feel like if I think back on how my childhood was, most especially my teenage years, if anything, it was more like I just happened.
Duck.
I was like, yeah, I was just solving crimes all the time. I just want a freaking break. I mean, jeez, get off my back, Mom. I'm solving cases.
So we want to thank Rob and Pernell for coming by. Rhythm and Pixels, always a pleasure chatting with you guys. You guys are a lot of fun, and we love having you on the show. And we can't wait to be on your episode where we talk about Virgin, like basically non-Capcom Disney games, so stuff from like Virgin, like what we were talking about before with Aladdin, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's always good. Chatting with you guys too, and talking about games and listening to great music. It's what we enjoy.
It was awesome bringing a little bit of our dysfunctionalness to your organized environment.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, right.
All over your Word doc.
Organized.
We had to reel it in a couple times.
No,
but we're all good. We're all good. So at this point in the episode, we kind of try to pick our favorite tracks of the episode. So we're going to kick it off to Rhythm and Pixels. Rob, Pernell, what were your favorite tracks of this
I'm going to do it. I just have to do it. My favorite track of this episode was from Magical Tetris Challenge for the N64.
Oh, snap. He picked his own. So the N64 one, not the Game
Mickey's
Game Boy.
theme was my favorite of the episode. And my reserve champion is going to be also mine from Aladdin. So
Wow, just did it.
I picked the best songs of the episode.
All right.
Well, I am not going to do what Rob did. I am actually going to stay away from my choices.
Give me more points, Pernell.
Well, unfortunately or fortunately, given the circumstances,
No, it's all right.
I do say as a tie between two tracks for my favorite on this episode, and one is going to be that N64 Magical Tetris Challenge track, and also the track from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That was a gem.
It's very good.
Yeah, I'm torn. I either want to pick that Who Framed Roger Rabbit track, but at the same time, like, I have so much nostalgia for that Rescue Rangers track. So, like, I know I picked both of those, but, like, I don't know. If I was to pick something else, I would say that Darkwing Duck
I'm about to
track.
say, is this going to be an
really
episode
good.
where I'm the only one that didn't pick his own tracks? I go back to factory.
You know, I'll say the Darkwing Duck track. Just to not pick my own tracks. I love that jazzy bounce that track had.
Agreed. I'm actually very partial to the Who Framed Roger Rabbit track.
Yeah.
I think that's my first pick, and a very close second is the Darkwing Duck track.
Yes. Good stuff. Cool. All right, Rob, Pernell, where can we find you on the web?
You can find us at rhythmandpixels.com. Rhythm and Pixels, of course, is all one word. You can see us at video game and retro video game conventions pretty much all along the East Coast at this point. Yeah. So if it's a retro game convention, you're going to see us there goofing off and eating candy.
Yes.
So much candy.
Sometimes at the same time. Like goofing off while eating candy. Yes.
Yeah. And you also can see us guesting on other podcasts and other podcasts guesting on our shows.
Yes.
But that's just what we like to do.
Yeah.
rhythmandpixels.com.
Very cool. Also, we have Rhythm and Pixels chat. It's a second group we have on the Book Face, where the idea is that we just kind of hang out, play video games, and talk shop, and just have a good time. Preferably, hopefully you're listening to the show at the point if you're joining Rhythm and Pixels chat, but even if you're not, but you just happen to want to hang out with some really cool cats, feel free to come in and hang out with us. Look up Rhythm and Pixels chat. You'll find it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. A lot of really cool game discussion there, talking about games and playing games, kind of like a book club almost, where like each month you guys have.
We just started that.
Yeah,
like a retro game of the month. We just started, and it was just kind of for fun, and then it's sort of like it's kind of picked up, and it's been a really good time. Also, it's like an opportunity for us to go back and revisit the classics that we kind of meant to.
Yeah.
You can also find us like on Twitter and Instagram, and
you guys are on YouTube places as well, and you have like a live stream, right?
Yeah, so it's Rhythm and Pixels, all one word, and if you just search 24/7 8-bit, you'll find us on there, or just Rhythm and Pixels Radio. Yeah, it is just a ton of music. We have about 30 hours of music ranging from the NES to the Game Boy to the PC-88, PC-98, Sharp 68, just everything. And there's we still have some playlists from your old Pixel Tunes Radios days. So
nice.
So yeah, we have playlists from other podcasts and from other friends.
But one thing that's interesting, that means that since you technically started a second show, you could double dip.
That's true.
Here's some suggestions from XVGM Radio.
But it plays random. So if you're ever just curious about listening to some new tunes, just turn it on. You're bound to hear something you've never heard before, or some classics that you've been looking out for. So that's pretty cool.
When I am back from paternity leave, I will definitely check that out, and I will stream some of that. Very cool. Well, you can check us out at facebook.com/groups/XVGM Radio. That's where to get in touch with us and tell us what you think about our episodes. Tell us what you think about any of the topics that we have up there. We have a pretty large Facebook group that we like sharing stuff about games and game music, so feel free to join that at any time. You can also check us out at xvgmradio.com, where you can get access to all of our episodes.
Yes. We are also on the social media aspect of the web. You can find us at both Twitter and Instagram. We are at XVGM Radio, and you can always email us at xvgmradio@gmail.com.
Yes, and please check us out on iTunes, where you can rate and review our podcast. Give us a like and let us know what you think. We would love to know, because that's great feedback, and it also gets the word out about the show.
We'd also like to thank our Patreons. You can find us at patreon.com/XVGM Radio if you are interested in making a donation to our show. But the folks that are currently donating to us are Alex Messenger, Scott McElhone, Cameron Werma, Chris Murray, and Chris Myers. Thank you all very, very much for being patrons of our show.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to help us with building up some cash flow, so that way we can buy better equipment for the show, and we have plans to do that in the very near future, so thank you again. So next episode's a little bit of a surprise, because we got a little bit of a shuffled rotation going right now. We may or may not have some potential goodies for you guys coming up, so stay tuned to the podcast. Again, from XVGM Radio, this is Mike
and Justin
signing off.
Good night.
Hi, is Talking Crab there?
No about to do, all the crab juice.
Get off my show.
No, wait. Sup, mermaid?
Sup with you? How was your day?
It was good. Where's your lobster friend?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
That was weird.
I'm here too.
Thank you and good night.